Happy Tuesday to all. Here we are again with another Tuesday Talk. I'm Dr. Sarah Smith, and if you are joining live, let me know. Okay, leave a comment or a like, and if you're catching it on the replay, do the same, because sometimes the replay doesn't work. So tomorrow, the first Wednesday of November, is Stress Awareness Day. And stress is something, if you have listened to me for a while, if you've gone to my website, then you have read my blogs, you know that stress is something that I talk about. If you've attended a workshop or a retreat, my whole mission is to help those of us who are trying to succeed in life, who are trying to better ourselves, who are trying to move forward and move the needle with making change in our world. Then we need to learn how to manage stress. And stress happens. One of the things that I always lead with is that stress is necessary in order for all of us to be here and to be standing, sitting, for you to be in the building that you're in. It's a normal part of life, but how we respond to it is where a lot of us really struggle. And so Stress Awareness Day is something that is really exciting for me, that we have this and that we need to be joining together to talk about how do you manage stress? What does stress look like to you? So leave it in the comments if you feel like putting that in there. What does stress look like to you? Leave a comment, let me know. For me, what stress looks like is stress eating. If you know me well, you know that cookie dough is a favorite of mine. York peppermint patties are a second. How else does stress look to me? To me, it might be not getting enough sleep. I have no trouble falling asleep, but I'll wake up really early and then I don't have enough sleep for the day. Stress for me looks like starting to lash out, go into mood swings, get emotional. Stress to me looks like getting into a worried mind, and then I just become more ineffective during the day. Stress for me looks like when my shoulders get really tense, and sometimes my there's probably lots of other ways. Oh, eczema. Eczema is another one that I've had. So I've had skin issues. That's what stress looks like to me. And how do I typically deal with that? So that's the next question. Leave it in the comments. How do you deal or manage your stress? Let me know. I'm interested to know, because we can all benefit by learning from what each other does. One of the beautiful things when I have a workshop or we have a retreat together, like we'll be doing in just a few days, really, November the 16th and 17th in Richmond, Virginia. But one of the things that we do is when we get together, we so can learn from what somebody else is doing. I learn all the time. You're going to learn all the time. And so I'll share for myself what stress management looks like to me is being able to get to sleep early, is drinking more water, is actually drinking warm tea, is using my heating pad. That's what stress management looks like to me. Stress management to me is movement. So not necessarily going to the gym. It may be going to the gym, but it's getting out for a walk. Stress management for me is also being with my family. It is journaling. And the main thing for me, stress management wise, is phoning a friend, being with a girlfriend that makes me laugh and that I can have a deep, meaningful conversation with. So leave in the comments what stress management means to you. And also, what are some of the things that create stress? The last one that I talked about, as far as phoning a friend or being with girlfriends, I'm going to be very, very honest with you that over the last, probably 6 years since my children have been born, it's been a struggle point for me. I feel like I put it on my intention list every January as January rolls around of what am I going to be focusing on this year. And every year I make a little bit more progress with that, but it's still something that is hard for me to do. It's still hard for me to identify when I'm going down kind of that rabbit hole of worry or overthinking or not feeling good enough, and having enough awareness to go, oh, I'm going down the rabbit hole. I really am missing connection. But connection is the cornerstone to stress management. We can talk about diet and sleep and hormone management all day long. We can talk about these things. But most of us still struggle, myself included, to move the needle with improving those things if we don't have connection. I was talking with a client about this yesterday, and she realized for her that living by herself was very helpful because she needed kind of that a better mindset. She needed to get some supplements, some medications on board for kind of managing and getting her stress under control. And really a lot of it was mindfulness. And I was like, oh, cool. Okay, so we have like these 3 pieces that really make up what allows you to have stress management. And she's somebody who exercises and she works on her diet anyway. Does it mean it's perfect? No. She's also somebody who's very spiritual. So she has that on board too. But these 3 things were really identified to her. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, that's great. But then she brought something up. You know, I had a week the other week where I really wasn't doing very well. I'd kind of been in a routine of exercise and I just wasn't really eating very well. And she said, so I called a friend and I went over to her house and we had just such a great conversation and we ended up meal planning together. And that is when it hit me just how important of a cornerstone connection is to stress management. And not just stress management, but like to thriving. Like if you want to thrive in your life, connection is the cornerstone. Meaningful connection. And so I asked her this. I said, do you realize what the cornerstone of you being able to hop back on the exercise train and you being able to hop back onto the meal planning and the eating nutritionally train, like, do you realize what it was that was able to give you that momentum again to get to the place where you were feeling more expansive, where you were feeling like you had options, where you were feeling like you had more harmony in your life? And she was kind of like, I don't know. And finally she said, well, I was hanging out with my girlfriend and I think that helped. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, it is connection. Research actually, and this is so incredible. I've talked about this before, but for those of you who are new to me or maybe haven't heard or read this before, there is now proving, we've known this culturally forever, but women specifically, when they gather a relationship, that might be over the phone, specifically if it's in person, but it doesn't have to be. It can be, over the internet. We have such great capability now. But when women gather and they're under stress, when they come together, there is a chemical, which means a hormonal shift, to help a woman reduce that level of stress so they can get into a place where they have clarity, where they have options again, and where they're able to move forward with empowered action. And this is what we all need to be coming into. So stress awareness, the cornerstone of that is meaningful connection. So a prompt to give you is, what does meaningful connection mean to you? Because everybody has a different flavor of what it means. From beautiful cultures throughout the world, there will be these gatherings of women. Sometimes it was more ritualistic. It typically had a spiritual component to it. But when women gather, there is meaning, and we can share and be vulnerable, but also courageous, and know that we're in a place where we are supported and that somebody is holding us in our truth, as opposed to going, yeah, you're just, this isn't working out very well. I don't know. I don't like this. The negative, not allowed into the inner circle. Not allowed, not helpful. Fear, not helpful. Fine to ask a question, but that's about it. So what is it for you that constitutes a meaningful relationship? Write it in the comments, share, because it will help someone else who watches this. Relationship means someone who can give and take reciprocally within the conversation, who is also willing to call me on my BS, and who is willing to lovingly share what it is that they feel like I am not really able to hear. For me, I'm going to share a story that when I was first, this probably happened, I think it was about 2 years ago, a good friend of mine, we were talking about my grief process with an acceptance process also of birthing and having a child who has diverse abilities. And while there's so many great things to having that, there was a lot of grief and acceptance that I needed to personally go through. And a very good friend, as we were kind of some of that, was able to say to me, look me in the eyes and say, I totally get it, but at that point in time, you were in denial. And for some, it would have been too harsh. For where I was right there, I needed to understand my grief process and my process of acceptance. And so she was willing to kind of be the courageous, vulnerable friend to say, hey, this is what we got here. So what also somebody who wants to laugh and have fun, and they want to do something. Okay, like they might just want to paint nails. They might want to go for a walk. They might want to make a meal together. They might want to, go out to dinner or go out to a movie. They want to do something. And so that is what meaningful connection means to me. So I want you to write in the comments what it means to you. The final thing, I have to make sure I look at my notes, is I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to reach out to a friend or someone maybe who isn't a great friend, but they've offered support, they've offered you help. I want you to reach out to them in a way that you can and say, I'm going to take you up on that. I've had lots of times in my life, especially over the last 6 years, but probably all of my life, where people will say in passing, I'm here to help you. Let me help you. Let me help you. If you need help with the kids, let me know. Or if you need help packing something or going through, old clothes and getting rid of them, let me know. If you need help with your business, let me know. And usually my first response is, oh gosh, thank you so much. And then it's kind of like, just me. I'm out. Disconnect, right? We go into a disconnect. So I would like to challenge you instead to find an area of your life and find a connection point. If you need help getting on board with a movement and exercise program, find someone you can connect with. If you need help having a little bit more fun, find somebody that you can connect with. Go out on a limb and ask them. Ask again. I met this amazing girl. She was a traveling physical therapist, and she came here to the Eastern Shore. She was probably here for like 3 months. And this girl made more friends and like deeper connections than I have ever seen. And her and I to this day still talk about it because she was not afraid to like ask and re-ask again. And she never came across as she was pushy. I get to know you better, and if you can, you can. If you can't, you can't. Just do it. Just do it. Don't worry about what anybody else is going to say. Don't worry if they say no. Just keep asking. But make sure that it area of people meaningfully connect with, because sometimes we're spending a little bit too much time trying to connect or waiting for somebody who really isn't meeting they're not really ready for that meaningful connection and how it's defined to you. They might be a little bit different in how they jive. So exercise, find a connection buddy. If it needs to be getting to sleep early, find a buddy to connect with. Ask for help. If it's just simply you want to start getting your nails done, or you want to whatever it is, find somebody, ask for help. I challenge you to do this, because connection and meaningful connection is the change maker for being able to not just relieve stress, but to go from there to reduce heart issues, reduce in the body, to be able to have our lungs be more clear, to be able to stand more clear, to step into your truth and your God's purpose, and to live a life that is thriving. So please join me in stepping up and asking for somebody to just be in connection with you. Okay? If you enjoy this, please share it with others. Tomorrow is Stress Awareness Day, as hopefully you're voting day. Please go out and vote. Exercise that right, and just know that you are loved and thought about. Thank you for watching this, and have a beautiful rest of your day.